Hello lovely people, my name is Lily and welcome to my channel. So today, as I'm sure you've seen from the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about my N.E.W.T TBR. So for those of you who don't know, the N.E.W.T is a magical read-a-thon based on the Harry Potter books, and it was created by G at Book Roast. If you want more information about what the N.E.W.T are and how they run, I'm going to leave her channel down below and the announcement video for the N.E.W.T so you can find out all the information you want to there. So for the N.E.W.T I have chosen two careers. My two careers are based on the owls that I passed. So back when I did my OWLs, I decided I wanted to be a potioneer, but that didn't quite give me enough books to read that month, and so I also added on the career of healer onto that. And so I'm going to be doing, or trying to do, the N.E.W.T for both healer and potioneer. So I have my little bullet journal here which has all of the prompts that I need to fill. And so the first one is arithmancy, read a book with an even page number at the end. And that's to get an acceptable, and for that I'm going to be rereading Red, White and Royal Blue. Now I actually read this book last month, but I listened to it on audiobook, and I loved it. I loved the story, but as someone who is from the UK, listening to that narrator try and do the English accent for Henry was a little bit painful, so I want to reread this physically. So I wanted a really light-hearted, fluffy read. A lot of these books are light-hearted, fluffy, easy reads, because that's just something that I want from this month, because life is stressful and books can be fun. So yeah, Red, White and Royal Blue is my prompt for that. The second exam that I need to take is Care of Magical Creatures. I need an acceptable in this. And that is follow the spiders, read a book that starts with the letter A. And for that I am going to be reading The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. This is the prequel to the Throne of Glass series. I have read the Throne of Glass series, but I haven't read this yet. I loved the Throne of Glass series. For anyone who has started that series but hasn't kind of continued it, the first three books are kind of like, they're fine, but you need to get to the end, because the end of that series is everything. And so yeah, I want to read this so then I've read all the books in that series. The next exam that I need to take is Charms. I need an acceptable and an exceeds expectations in Charms. So to get an acceptable, I need to read a book which I think has a gorgeous cover. And for that I'm going to be reading Magisterium by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. I don't know much about this book. It is a middle grade, but I love Cassandra Clare's writing, and I've read a few things by Holly Black and I love her writing, so I think this is going to be a good one. Obviously it's a middle grade. I think it's got something to do with a school of magic. Someone doesn't want to be a magician, but then he has to go to this magisterium and learn magic for some reason. So yeah, it's quite short. It should be a good one. A nice, easy, quick read. So to get an exceeds expectations, I have to read a comic book or a graphic novel, and for that I'm going to be going with Deadly Class Volume 2. I read Volume 1 a couple of months ago. It was amazing. It's not a graphic novel that I've seen advertised, not advertised, but talked about a lot on YouTube, and it's really good. I loved it. I don't often rate graphic novels or comics, but this one was amazing. It gave me very much Six of Crows type vibes. So I'm going to be continuing on with that one. It's got the kind of group of misfits and they're going to like a school of sort of assassins. They're kind of going to a school for assassins, but it's a lot more kind of Six of Crows-esque fighting rather than it's more thuggish fighting than you would expect from a school of assassins. So I thought it was really good. It was really engaging. Obviously, because it's a graphic novel, it's a nice quick read, and yeah, I'm going to see where the story goes next. The next exam that I have to sit is Defence Against the Dark Arts. I also have to get an acceptable and an exceeds expectations for that. So to get an acceptable, I need to read a book that is black under the dust jacket. And for that, I am going to be going with Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And this book is indeed black under the dust jacket. And it's also got really sparkly holographic letters on the side. So that's nice. Aurora Rising has been going around a lot recently on BookTube. And it's basically a sci-fi that is about this team of kind of misfits who are put together after flight school, and they pick up this girl who I think is Aurora, and have some kind of adventure. I don't really know much else about it, but it's again very Six of Crows-esque. You've got a cocky diplomat with a black belt in sarcasm, a sociopath scientist with a fondness for shooting her bunkmates, a smart-ass tech whiz with the galaxy's biggest chip on his shoulder, an alien warrior with anger management issues, a tomboy pilot who's totally not into her squad leader, in case you're wondering. So, yeah, and they've got to go and, I assume, stop something terrible from happening in space. So yeah, I've also heard that although this is quite long, it is quite a quick, easy read, and it does have some mixed media in it as well. So looking forward to reading this. The next book that I need to read for an exceeds expectations in Defence Against the Dark Arts is Gilderoy Lockhart Memory Charm, book at random from your TBR. And for that I am going with another graphic novel, and that is Bloom. This I think is an LGBT story to do with baking. I think one of them works in a bakery, or whose parents work in a bakery, and the other one goes there for a job. This is quite a thick chunky one, but obviously it is a graphic novel. It's all this beautiful blue colour, so I'm looking forward to this. Again, light-hearted, fluffy, lovely read. So yeah, I can't wait to get to this one. The next exams that I need to take are those for herbology. So to get an acceptable in herbology is Mandrake, listen to an audiobook, and for that I'm going to listen to the audiobook for Truly Devious. This is a YA mystery, I believe. There's a girl called Stevie who gets accepted to a private school where there is a mystery that happened years and years ago. I think it was a kidnapping that was never solved, and she wants to go to this school so that she can solve this mystery. And I'm assuming it goes from there. I've heard some good things about this book, but I haven't heard an awful lot. It's one that's on a lot of people's TBRs, but I don't know of many people who've actually read it. But it does have sequels, so it can't be terrible, I'm assuming. I don't know, there are a lot of books that have sequels that are terrible. Anyway, we're going to give this a go. It is on Scribd, it's on audiobook, so I'm going to give it a listen. The next book that I'm going to be reading for an exceeds expectations in herbology is to read a book between 350 and 390 pages, and for that I'm going to be reading The Devouring Grey. And this book is 389 pages, so it is just within the page limits of 390, and it's got pretty pink spade edges. From what I've heard of this book, it is set in a small town, probably somewhere in America, and there is this grey mist that is kind of taking over the town, and people are disappearing into it, and some people in the town, that's the cat. Some people in this town have magical powers, and they want to use them to find out what's kind of causing this mist, what's in the mist, what's killing people. I've heard mixed things about this. Apparently the story is quite good and it's quite an easy read, but then the writing style could be better. The next exam that I need to pass is potions, obviously. To be a potioneer, I need to get an outstanding in potions. So, to get an acceptable, I need to do the Polyjuice potion. Read a recommended book. Now, for that, I am going to be reading Spellslinger. Now, this is one of J.D. Ray Reid's favourite books. I follow her on YouTube. I love her channel, love her videos, and she talks about this non-stop. But this is also the book that if you can't think of a book to fill a prompt, then this is kind of the group book for the N.E.W.T. So it fills the prompt, and it's also a bit of a cheat if you had to use a book recommended by a friend, because a lot of my friends don't read books that I like. So yeah, I'm going with Spellslinger for this. This is about a young man called Kellen, and he is about to take some kind of magical exam, magical trials, to make him a spellcaster, but his magic has disappeared right before these trials, and he meets someone who will kind of teach him tricks to get through these exams, to make it seem like he has magic, but he really doesn't. And then I'm assuming it will go from there. For N.E.W.T expectations in potions, it's house ingredient, read a book with a green cover, because my house is Slytherin. And so for that, I am going to be reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the 20th anniversary edition, and it is the Slytherin cover because, like I said, I'm a Slytherin. I don't think that anyone needs me to tell them what the Harry Potter series is about. I think at this point it should be fairly well established. So yeah, The Prisoner of Azkaban is my favourite book. I have reread the first two last month, or well, it's still this month because I'm filming this on the last day of the month. But yeah, so I'm continuing on with the series, rereading this one, and as this version is green, it fulfills this prompt. House ingredient, green, Slytherin, very fitting. I may switch between reading this physically and listening to the Stephen Fry audiobook version, because that's great too, and there are a lot of books to read here, so adding in another audiobook will probably help me. For an outstanding in potions, you need to read a book that starts with a prologue, and for that I'm going to be reading Nevermore. And Nevermore, I believe, starts with a prologue, which is lovely. This one, again, isn't the shortest, but it is a middle grade book. I've heard some great things about this from a few different YouTubers channels. There's Rachel Marie Book Junkies channel, she talks about this a lot. I think I've heard J.D. Ray Reid's talk about this as well. So it is one that has come recommended by a couple of booktubers, and it does start with a prologue. I believe this is about a little girl who is a cursed child, and so everything that goes wrong is her fault. And she's supposed to die on her 11th or 12th birthday, but before she does, she gets whisked away to this world called Nevermore, and she has to kind of prove that she belongs there, otherwise she'll be sent back to the real world and she will die. So I'm guessing this is the story of her proving herself worthy of being in this Nevermore place and not dying, because it's a middle grade, and I'm assuming that that's how that works because it's a children's book and the main character probably shouldn't be dying in a children's book. The last exam that I need to sit is Transfiguration. For that I need an acceptable and an exceeds expectations. So for an acceptable, I need to read a book with LGBTQ+ themes, and for that I'm going to be reading Heartstopper Volume 1. And then for an exceeds expectations, I need to read a book that is not the first in a series, and for that I'm reading Heartstopper Volume 2. Again, light, fluffy, lovely. I have already read these, but I've read them online. So I read them the online version of these, so I haven't read them in their book form before. But again, I'm really looking forward to these because they are lovely, they are light-hearted, they are absolutely 5 stars. They are what they say on the tin, boy meets boy. Two boys who go to the same secondary school. One of them is openly gay, the other one we don't know about, and it's their story about potentially falling in love, or maybe just one of them falls in love, maybe they both fall in love, maybe neither of them falls in love. You'll have to read them to find out. I'm not giving away any spoilers, but I mean, I feel like it should be fairly obvious about what's going on here. So that's it. That is my TBR for August and for the N.E.W.T Magical Read-a-thon. There are 13 books on this list, but some of them are comics or graphic novels. I've got a couple of middle grades in there, some audiobooks, so hopefully it should be absolutely fine. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up and leave your comments down below. Let me know what you're going to be reading this month if you're taking part in the N.E.W.T Magical Read-a-thon. What is your career? What book are you really looking forward to reading this month? Also, what book should I really be looking forward to reading this month if you've read any on this list? Chat to me down below in the comments, and apart from that, I will see you next time with another video. Bye!